We start off with our team of makeshift mercenaries and bounty hunters visiting what is now a Scourge nightclub. Mando confirms that the Marshal will be bringing his town of civilians to fight for Boba in his gang war. However, they will only do it under the condition that drugs do not flow into their town. Fennec shows reserve to this deal because there's a lot of money. But Boba agrees nevertheless. Boba suggests going to the palace where the defense will be difficult to bypass. However, the Star Wars equivalent of the Rugrats decided it is strategically wise to actually make their stand in the most defenseless place on the planet, which is this nightclub. Boba says that's nonsense, but Star Wars Princess says it's a good idea because somehow the nightclub magically became the symbol of the people in this town. Boba then agrees. Meanwhile, the real badass bounty hunter returns to chat with the local mob bosses. They reveal that actually it is them who killed Boba's friends. The X-Wing appeared with R2 on it, and the audience actually thought that Luke would actually participate in this fight. Now, if Luke would have participated in this battle, the war would be over in one day. So it was actually Grogu instead of Luke. The lady pulled down the guy's shirt for no reason and actually confirmed for the audience that Grogu did choose to become a Mandalorian foundling. Now back in the city, the Power Rangers started their round of surveillance and arrive at an alley's dead end to meet up with the rest of the crew. Boba met up with his own mentor, which he clued him in on the fact that the Tusken Raiders were actually killed by the Pikes. Provoked, Boba is baited by the blue Clint Eastwood to another old-fashioned Clint Eastwood Western movie outcome. Fennec advises not to be baited and should fight on his own terms. With that, Boba agrees and the old blue Clint Eastwood retreats. Meanwhile, the Power Ranger seems to be cornered by an obvious ambush. Immediately, the princess calls for help from Disney, not to delete them from the show. All the more the audience and the fans alike is screaming to have the Power Rangers to be killed on the spot. A few laser shots actually landed, and hope rises in the audience that the end of the most hated characters in all of Star Wars is finally ending. Just while things are getting good, Disney sends in Fennec to save the princess, and she quickly says thank you. With that, Fennec races off to a definite assassination mission that should have occurred on episode 1. Black Chewie seems to be holding on his own against 50 lizards, but ultimately gets dogpiled. Then the audience is angry that the Black Chewie might die and the Power Rangers are saved by plot armor. The Pikes makes their move to smoke out Boba, and finally, a moment of clarity where he sends out the receptionist with a peace deal. While reading the offer to the Pikes in an attempt to negotiate a plea deal, the receptionist found the message was a "F you." Boba finally decided he had enough and started lighting the Pikes on fire. Mando quickly joins the battle, though both are quickly overwhelmed. The barkeep from the last episode showed up in a tank with the townsfolk from Freetown. The Power Rangers unfortunately shows up to the fight too, but luckily the red one gets taken out immediately. But of course, the raging teenager Disney princess saves him by outgunning 60 gang members with the smallest laser gun in all of Star Wars lore and almost zero cover. Black Chewie shows up too, but immediately gets owned. While limping to safety, Boba comes to the rescue, and Mando scans the instrument of their demise. The death machine immediately overwhelms the party, forcing Boba to unleash his power attack. However, realizing it didn't do squat, Mando pulls out his big black darksaber. Unfortunately, bounces right off. Realizing he is outmatched, he immediately buggers off, but ran into the 1980s comic relief lady. While trying to get away in the most inopportune timing, Mando reunites with his green 600-year-old son. And like the lady before, the first thing he does is pull down the guy's shirt to see what he's wearing. A laser blast reminded that they are still in mortal danger. The Rancor shows up with Boba Fett to even the playing field. While the Rancor one-shots the robot and diverts its shield to the front, Mando takes his opportunity to sneak behind it, fly up and deal the finishing blow. But it seems it was still alive, so Grogu made use of his power up from Master Skywalker and unscrewed a bolt, causing the robot to collapse in total defeat. Back at the Power Rangers fight, Boba with the Rancor made their way for another round. The robot stood no chance, and it was being flown like a ragdoll, and the Rancor then proceeded to clean up the other gang members. Clint Eastwood casually showed up and shined his cigar lighter at the Rancor twice, and the Rancor quickly buggered off, leaving Boba to fight on his own. Boba once again tried to play the gunslinger game and loses it immediately. As Blue Clint Eastwood walks slowly to finish the job, Boba ignites his own cigar lighter but fails to catch the Blue Clint Eastwood off guard. As they exchange some kind words emphasizing Boba shouldn't be playing the savior role and should embrace his killer nature. While listening, Boba got angry and used his desert kung fu, which he learned from the Tusken Raiders, to finally deal the killing blow to the Blue Clint Eastwood. Meanwhile, Mando is having trouble being the Rancor's playdate. Mando tried the cigar lighter trick, but to no avail. The Rancor remembers not to fall for the same trick twice and proceeded to toss Mando like a baseball. Then Grogu walked in front of the hungry Rancor and immediately put the animal to sleep and gave it some much needed love. Receiving the bad news that all the gang members were defeated, the head fish mob boss with the slug-like mayor discussed their next move. Though shortly, interrupted by lasers coming from the ceiling, the mayor got roped to the ceiling and finally, Fennec easily backstabbed the fish boss to death. As things has come to pass, Boba takes a walk with the love and respect of the city folks. He looks at Fennec and finally discovers that this type of life isn't for him, something the audience knew from episode 1. The Black Chewie fortunately survived, but so did the Power Rangers and their stupid colorful bikes. Off-planet, you see Grogu ask if Mando can hurry to their next destination. Mando put on the light speed to his season 3 premiere. Oh, and we also see the Marshal survive and might get promoted as the town's police chief. Folks, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell.